In today's podcast, you'll learn how to use the prepositions in, into, inside, and within. They sound similar and they are sometimes interchangeable, but not always. We'll help you understand the difference. Welcome to
Aprender Inglés with Reza and Craig.
I'm Reza.
And my name's Craig.
And with more than 50 years of teaching between us, we'll help you improve your English and take it to the next level. Well, Craig, how are you?
I'm doing very well, thank you. It's been a good week. A good week. I can't complain. How are you, my friend?
Fine. I've been taking it easy. And what have you been up to yourself?
I'm teaching the conversation classes, lovely groups of people that meet online with me on Zoom. So I'm very happy with the way they're going. And if anyone listening would like to improve their spoken English, if you need a little bit more confidence when you speak, a bit more fluency, send me an email, Craig. I'm Craig at inglespodcast.com, and Craig is Craig, and I will send you more information. You are very welcome to join the next conversation course. How's your teaching going?
Well, you know what? I'm having a bit of a breather at the moment. To breathe, to take air in and out. To have a breather means just relaxing, just breathing and nothing else.
I'm good to see you're still breathing.
Yes, because if I wasn't breathing, that would definitely not be good. So if you're having a breather, it's a colloquial way of saying you're just taking it easy. You're just breathing
having a rest.
In and out, having a rest. So actually, I haven't been doing much teaching over the last few months, but I will be pretty soon again, I hope.
Well, someone who has been working really hard on their English and on their exams is Walter from Belgium, who has sent us another message. Here's Walter.
Hi Craig and Reza, it is me again, Walter from Belgium. I think that I have become addicted of Aprender Inglés with Reza and Craig. Well, every day when I wake up, I take my mobile phone and go onto Spotify or Google Podcasts and listening to you. Even if I have to go to school early, it is the first thing that almost every day I do before doing something else. So please, could you make an episode about the difference between in, inside, into, within? Because sometimes I think that it is the same thing, but I am not sure. Because I know that we can say, I went into my house or I went in my house. I don't know if it is correct or not. Please, can you explain me? Thank you and have a lovely weekend. Bye-bye.
Lovely to hear from you again, Walter. Thank you very much for your message. Any comments, Reza?
Thanks very much, Walter, for your message. Normally, we don't welcome addiction, but we do if it's an alcoholic. So you say you've become addicted to Aprender Inglés con Reza y Craig, AIRC. You're an AIRC. You're an alcoholic. Welcome to the club.
Aprender Inglés with Reza and Craig, AIRC. I don't think you used the correct preposition though, Walter. It's addicted to something. Addicted to podcasts, addicted to sport, etc. And another thing I noticed from your message was right at the end, you said, can you explain me? But you need an object. If you are the object after explain, then it is you we need to explain. I don't think we need to explain you, Walter. We need to explain the prepositions. So be careful of that object. Can you explain prepositions to me? Or can you explain it to me? Or can you explain them to me? So be careful of that verb construction after explain.
Well, I hope we can. Shall we give it a go, Craig? Shall we try and explain the difference between in, onto, inside, and within?
Yeah, as Walter said, they can be interchangeable in some situations. So there is some, let's say, crossover between those prepositions when you use them. But let's look at them one by one and see exactly when you can use those four prepositions. So let's start with in, Reza. When can we use in?
So one use of in is to indicate a location or position in something or within something larger. For example, she is in the garden. She is in the garden. So that's her location. That's where she is. The garden is all around her, right? She's in the garden. I could also say the biscuits are in the cupboard.
Not anymore.
They were until you got at them.
And now they are in my stomach. In my belly, my big belly. And speaking of places, we can say that Reza and I are both in Valencia. That's the city we're in.
When Craig was on holiday not long ago, he spent a few days in a hotel, isn't that right?
Actually, it was an Airbnb. It was a flat. So I spent a few days in somebody else's flat. You can also use in to speak about a piece of clothing you're wearing. A very famous song many years ago by Chris de Burgh was Lady in Red. Lady in Red.
Dancing with me, cheek to cheek, is that the one?
Lady in Red, dancing with me. Yeah, it was, yeah, cheek to cheek. A very good film with Will Smith and Terry Lee Jones, Men in Black. That means they're wearing black clothes. They're men in black. And very sexy is sometimes to be dressed in leather. You're dressed in leather, you're dressed in silk, you're dressed in cotton, etc.
Craig, when was the last time you were in your birthday suit?
In my birthday suit. Yeah. That means this morning when I got out of the shower. Right. If you're in your birthday suit, that means you are naked. You are not wearing any clothes. So to be in your birthday suit is an expression which means you're not wearing clothes.
Your birthday suit it being the clothes you were wearing the day you were born, i.e. nothing.
Yeah. Now, in can also be used as an adverb. You can say that he's come in, which means they've come into, they've entered a room or a building. For example, I looked up anxiously as Reza came in. Or they shook hands and went in. So you go into a place, you come in, you come out, go in, go out. So you can use in as an adverb.
It can also refer to a time period. So up to now, we've been talking about places, movement, location. But for time, for example, I'll phone you in 10 minutes. Or I'll be there in an hour. So in there for a time period.
And you can use in to talk about a state of being. For example, oh, you're in trouble. You're in trouble now. You've eaten all the biscuits. You're in trouble. Or you can say, my bedroom is in a mess. When you speak about something being in a mess, in a terrible state, then you could say a right mess. That's sometimes heard. My desk is in a right mess today. I need to tidy it up. It's in a terrible mess.
Now, another preposition which is very similar to in is into. In fact, it's half of the word is the word in, isn't it? Take the word in and the word to, put them together, and you get into. And indeed, the meaning of into is kind of like a mixture of in and to, isn't it, really?
Yeah.
It expresses movement towards, in other words, to. Towards means in the direction of, in other words, to, the inside of a place. Or it could also be movement from outside to inside a place. So it is really connecting the meanings of in and to. For example, he walked into the room. So before he walked, he wasn't in the room, right? But then he walked. And where did he walk? Well, from outside to the inside of the room. So he walked into the room. So it is a mixture of to, the direction of, and in, interior. He walked into the room.
Here's a trivia question for you, Reza. Can you name this song that starts with these lyrics? You walked into the party like you were walking onto a yacht.
Sounds familiar.
You walked into a party. Walking onto
Carly
a
Simon.
yacht. Yes.
And the song is, no, don't tell me it's on the tip of my tongue.
Very good.
Is the song called, I know one of the words, but I'm not sure if the song is called.
It is.
You probably think this song is about you.
You're so
vain. You're so vain.
You're so vain.
You probably think this song is about you. You're so vain. That's
You're
it.
so vain. Exactly.
Yeah. Could you sing a little bit?
I can't sing. You know that. You're a better singer than I am. But we won't sing it. It's a very old song. But just notice the prepositions. You walked into the party, going into it, like you were walking onto a yacht. So a yacht is a very expensive boat, sometimes with sails, and you go onto it, not into it. Another example, I've no idea why the US and its allies went into Iraq. So they invaded Iraq. You can say they went into it. There's another use of into. Do you remember why the US invaded Iraq?
I remember the reason given at the time, which was weapons of mass destruction. It turns out they didn't have any at all.
Yeah.
But that was the official reason.
Another example, very true for me and my wife. She got into bed, because you go into bed, you get into bed. She got into bed and touched me with her freezing cold feet.
On purpose?
Yes.
Oh, I hate it when people do that.
To warm up their feet on your...
At the expense of your...
lovely, toasty,
your
warm
legs, was it?
feet. Yeah.
So she made your feet cold to make hers warmer. Oh, don't you just hate that?
Yeah, I hate that, especially in the winter. Now, if you put one thing into another... You put the first thing...
Are you talking about still being in bed with your wife?
I'm not in bed. No,
that.
I've gotten out of bed
Okay.
now, Reza.
And we're not putting one thing into another. Okay, just to clarify that.
Clean your dirty mind. You put one thing into another. You put the first thing inside the second.
Are you sure we're not talking about...
No, we're not. We're not talking about sex. For example, you're combining the remaining ingredients and you put them into a dish. So you're putting the ingredients into a dish. Another example, until the 1980s, almost all olives were packed into jars by hand. So they used to put the olives into the jars by hand. Now it's been automated and they're put into the jars on a machine.
Is that true?
Yeah.
How on earth did you know that? How did you find that out?
Mr. Google.
Oh.
Yeah, Uncle Google told me. Must be true.
Into can also mean to divide or split something into a number of pieces or sections. For example, the book is divided into 12 chapters. So that's the division of the book. It's divided into 12 chapters. Or roll out the pastry and cut into narrow strips. Perhaps, I don't know, 6 or 8 or 10. We're talking about dividing the pastry. Yeah, the stuff that you roll to make breads and cakes and things like that. Cut it into various narrow strips. So we're talking about division.
Of course, you can also cut a cake into different slices. And the preposition into can also be used figuratively to express interest or some kind of transformation. For example, I'm into rock climbing, expresses interest. I'm into it. I really like it. I'm keen on it. Reza and I are into podcasting. And you can say that a caterpillar turns into a butterfly, and that's transformation.
In fairy tales, traditionally, whenever the lady kisses a frog, it turns into a charming prince, doesn't it?
Yeah.
That's what happens.
Yeah, that's right. Let's move on to the preposition inside, which refers to the inner part or the inner space of something. For example, the children are waiting inside the car. So you could say in the car, couldn't you? But not into, because we don't have that idea of to meaning in the direction of. So we could use in here or inside, which is more explanatory, meaning the inside, the inner space of something. Another example, inside the passport was a folded slip of paper or piece of paper. It was inside the book or inside the passport.
As well as being used as a preposition with a similar meaning, inside can also be used as an adverb. For example, it's really cold out here. Let's go inside. As Craig said earlier, you could use in, you could say let's go in, but inside explains it better. The idea of the contrast between out and interior in. It's better to say that we're going to go inside. We're going to move from the exterior to the interior.
Another example, he ripped open the envelope and read what was inside. He ripped open the envelope or tore open the envelope and read what was inside.
Now, up to now, we've been talking about both into and inside and in being used as either prepositions or adverbs. But the word inside can also be used as a noun, a countable noun. For example, the doors were locked from the inside. So if we have the article the, then we know that it has to go with a noun. So here, the word inside is a thing. It's not a preposition. It's not an adverb. It's a place. The inside, the interior, if you like. So there it's being used as a noun.
I painted the inside of the house is another example. So I didn't paint the outside, which is the opposite of inside. I painted the inside of the house. Another example, a kiwi fruit can be eaten by cutting off the tops and scooping out the insides with a teaspoon. And they're the insides plural because there's more than one. And to scoop out, you may have heard of a scoop of ice cream when you use a spoon to take some of the ice cream or some of the kiwi fruit out of the middle. Is that how you would eat a kiwi? Would you scoop out the insides or would you peel it with a sharp knife? You're a peeler. You're a peeler.
Are you a scooper?
I'm a scooper. I cut the kiwi in half, take a teaspoon, and then eat both halves with a teaspoon.
You don't like it in your fingers dirty and sticky with all the juice. Yeah.
Don't see the point. If you can cut it with a knife, it's also quicker. Saves time. More time to podcast. Inside, our flexible friend is very flexible and used in many different grammatical ways, can also be an adjective. I keep my money in my inside pocket. Pocket is the noun, and inside is describing the pocket. What kind of pocket is it? Oh, it's inside my jacket, so I keep my money in my inside pocket.
Yes, it would be a bad idea to keep your money in your outside pocket. So the opposite of inside, if we're using it as an adjective, would be outside, because there someone could easily steal it. Better to keep it in your inside pocket.
Another example, inside information is obtained from someone who is involved in a situation and therefore knows a lot about it. They are on the inside, we can say, and their inside is describing the information. So it's an adjective, inside information.
Our last word for this episode, which contains the word in, is within. This refers to being limited by something. Often it's non-physical boundaries, like, for example, time or distance or some kind of concept. Here's an example. We should finish the project within a week. Within a week. So a week is our time limit. Or you should receive a reply within 24 hours. Again, within 24 hours indicates a time limit.
and you're not listening to this podcast live, it is recorded, but you should hear this podcast within a fortnight. Fortnight is a typically British English expression for 2 weeks. I don't think our American cousins use the word fortnight, but within a fortnight is before 14 days have elapsed.
It can also be for distance, as I said. For example, the park is located within 2 kilometers of the hotel. So maybe I don't know, or I don't want to say the exact distance. It may be 1.9 kilometers, it may be 1.4, but I can tell you that it's within 2 kilometers of the hotel. So 2 kilometers is the limit. I know that it's definitely no further away than that.
You could also use within to describe the concept of something inside a concept. For example, you might hear your English teacher say, the answer lies within the text. I'm sure you've said that to some students, Reza. Read the text, answer the questions. You'll find the answers within the text, inside the boundaries of the text.
Another use of within is for emotions or states or feelings. For example, she felt a growing sense of passion within her. So again, it's that meaning of being limited to inside her, within her. And it's an abstract idea here.
Within can also be used as an adverb. For example, a small voice called from within. Yes, just coming. So from within your body or within your head, you hear this small voice from within, from inside you. So as we mentioned before, some of these prepositions can cross over and be used in different situations, for example, within and into. And as we've explained here, they can also have specific uses that you should be aware of. So if you want to read our explanations and example sentences, as usual, go to the show notes for this episode at inglespodcast.com. But now it's your turn to practice your English, isn't it, Reza?
Yes, and the best way you can do that, perhaps, is by sending us an audio message. You can record your voice. There's a link in the show notes to speakpipe.com/inglespodcast. And using that, you can record a message of up to 90 seconds. There's a limit. And send that to us. If you need to send a longer message than that, or you just prefer to write, you could send us an email. Write to Craig at inglespodcast.com, or to me, belfastreza@gmail.com.
And if you're a Spanish speaker and you want to study for free, why not go to the Mansion Inglés website at mansioningles.com. There you'll see some free courses and other material to help you with your English progress. And we also have some paid ebooks and audios and other products there for self-study. You can buy those at store.mansioningles.net.
As we do at the end of every episode, we'd like to thank our supporters on the Patreon scheme. That's Patreon. And those people on the scheme, they donate. It can be as little as $1.50 per month. They donate that money to the podcast. And as a way of saying thank you, we give them instant access to the audio transcriptions of the podcasts. If you're interested, have a look at the link in the show notes to patreon.com/inglespodcast.
And we'd both like to thank everybody who is supporting us on Patreon. Without your help, we're not sure if we'll be able to continue with the podcast. We really do appreciate your support. Again, that's patreon.com/inglespodcast. Reza, do we know what we're doing next week?
I have to admit, we don't. We'll think of something. Send us ideas. We will release something, but right now we don't know.
However, we will be back next Sunday for another episode. Until then, have a fantastic week. Keep studying and listening to English. Thank you for listening this week. It's goodbye from me.
And it's bye-bye from me.
By the way, if you enjoyed this podcast, please tell a friend so that we can get more people listening. And the music this week is by Pits. The track is called See You Later.